That is a perfect fucking storm, man. Oh, dude. Hey, four-name girl. Dude, look at this. This is so bad. Oh my God, man. This is fucking bad. I mean, like I've told you guys many times. I mean, I'm well versed with these kinds of storms. And man, Florida got real lucky this time, man. But oh my God, what's going to happen to Louisiana and fucking Mississippi and Tennessee? Wow, dude. That is just, and you know what they're saying? They're saying, well, you got to just hear what this fucking weatherman said that I was just listening to. Here, check this out. Listen to this report. Listen to this weather report.
I want to bring in now Jeff Berardelli. He's a CBS News meteorologist and climate specialist. Jeff, what's the latest on Hurricane Ida's path?
So the path is somewhat unchanged, but the intensity is now really starting to pick up, and you'll be able to see exactly
Hey, Rob.
right now, because you can see that the eye had been clouded over for quite a while, but look, it's emerging.
That's not good, man.
So right now is when it's really going to start to intensify.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen fast.
Dude,
today, tonight.
I'm going to tell you guys, the reason why I know that storm is going to be dangerous is because it's perfect. And when you see that eye in the center of the storm like that, and it's got nothing distorting it, that is a healthy storm, and that is not good. Hey, Eddie, what's up, buddy? That is a healthy fucking storm, man. Not good.
Through today and tomorrow until it makes landfall, we're going to be seeing this intensify because it's moving over extraordinarily warm waters. This is the official forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. A Cat 4 making landfall tomorrow, late in the afternoon, early in the evening. That means it has another somewhere between 24 and 30-ish hours or so to continue to intensify. So it's likely to get very strong. Earlier today, National Hurricane Center had a max intensity of 140. Now it's down to 130, but I wouldn't be so sure about that. This system certainly has the capacity to get as strong as it wants to. The only limiting factor is time, because eventually it will hit land, and that's at least some good news.
Hey,
but
Josh.
It's going to move over the hottest water in the Gulf of Mexico. That's the loop current right there. That will really intensify it. And then it's going to move over the highest surface water in the Gulf of Mexico, which is right near the north coast, so right near the Louisiana coast. Water temperatures are around 90 degrees, so that's what we're most concerned about. And
It might be a Cat 4.
we think it's going to rapidly intensify. What does that mean? Well, that's a wind speed increase by definition of 35 miles an hour in 24 hours. And most major hurricanes, in fact, do rapidly intensify. We've seen this increase 5 miles an hour per decade for the past 4 decades because of human-caused climate change. Because
See, they say it really fast, and you won't even notice that that's in the middle of a weather report. And so many people ignore that information. So we're going to listen to it until it sinks in, all right? Everybody listen, and make sure you're catching what he's saying right here, okay?
most major hurricanes, in fact, do rapidly intensify. We've seen this increase 5 miles an hour per decade for the past 4 decades. We've seen this increase 5 miles an hour per decade for the past 4 decades. Intensify. We've seen this increase 5 miles an hour per decade for the past 4 decades because of human-caused climate change.
Dan, it hasn't gone over land yet, bro. It's just fueling up in the ocean. There's no eye wall to replace. It's solid. It's one of the best eye walls I've ever fucking seen in a storm. You know? The replacement happens if the eye wall breaks down. All right?
Because ocean temperatures in the Atlantic Ocean right now about 2 degrees warmer than they used to be, so we're getting used to seeing rapid intensification.
Hey, Sam.
This system is certainly going to do that.
Well, Jeff, what are the worst impacts that we're likely going to see from the hurricane?
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of hazards with this. It's hard to pick one as being the worst. Certainly the wind first. Let's talk about that, because as this comes on shore, look at how classic the shape is. You can see the eye.
It's hard to pick one as being the worst. Yeah, I would pick the one that does the most damage. Okay? And that's going to be the flooding. This guy doesn't even say that. It's hilarious. He doesn't even understand. He's like, well, the wind's going to be really fast and bad.
You can see the eye wall. There we are in the morning with winds gusting to about hurricane force in Grand Isle. Then as we head to around noontime, notice those winds start gusting over 100 miles an hour along the coast. And look at that, over 130 miles an hour at times. Now in New Orleans looks like they're going to be on the northeast fringe of the hurricane force wind. So there'll be some gusts to 75, 80, but the worst of it right now looks like it's going to head to the west. And you can see it making landfall during the late afternoon, early evening, and then it will begin to weaken. But because it is strengthening at landfall, it has upward momentum in terms of its winds, it takes a while for it to start decreasing intensity. So this system is going to produce damage well inland. Just remember that. This is going to be a bit like
This guy looks like Chris Cuomo a little bit, doesn't he? I was like, who's this guy remind me of? He's like fucking Andrew Cuomo's stupid brother over there at CNN.
a buzzsaw because of how strong the winds are. Now, like a buzzsaw. Inland. Just remember that. This is going to be a bit like a buzzsaw because of how strong the winds are. Now, in terms of the storm surge, 10 to 15 feet is likely in the corridor of the strongest winds and the strongest onshore push, about 7 to 11 feet to the east of New Orleans, which is catastrophic storm surge. It's going to be deadly. And then on top of that, we've seen about 2 to 2.5 times the amount of rain that we would normally see the last 90 days in places like Mississippi and Louisiana. We're going to pile another at least foot, some places 15 to 20 inches on top of that. And, there's no way the ground could absorb all of that. It's going to run off and cause a lot of flash flooding. Very dangerous flash flooding.
There it is.
Well, Jeff, devastating doesn't even begin to encompass how horrific the impacts were of Hurricane Katrina on Louisiana. And as we discussed last, Hurricane Ida is currently expected to be even stronger. Tell us more about how these two storms will compare.
So what's so important about this is not the actual number, how strong the winds are. Is it a strengthening storm at landfall? So does it have upward strengthening momentum? Or is it weakening at landfall, in which case it's already weakening, so as soon as it hits land, it just falls off a cliff. The intensity is not nearly as bad. So,
all right, so let's get this off of here. Karen said, love the title, needs lessons. Oh, somebody read the title. Good. Thank you, Karen. I'm going to show you guys how to fill up. They call these nectar collectors. They also call them dab straws. And, it's also called a bubbler. This is a nectar collector bubbler. And whenever you have a nectar collector that uses water, they're really hard to fill. And I'm going to tell you why. There is a hole at both ends. And when water starts going through one side, it pulls air from the other side. Air sucks in through the hole as water goes out the other side, creating a vacuum inside. And that forces the water out the other end. So you have to break the siphon. And the way you break the siphon is really simple. I just figured this out on my own, and I was so proud of myself. I was like, I finally figured this shit out. I have to tell everybody. I have to tell everybody on the show how to do this. So for those of you who have a hard time keeping the amount of water in your bubbler that you want, there's a reason it runs out. That's because there's still water in here. And as soon as you go like that, the little bit of water that's in there will pour out, and it'll start sucking all the water out. So the easy way to fill this, and the easy way to keep the water in, watch this. get yourself a glass of water. I'm just going to use this. It's got some filtered water in it. Like you're going to hit it, right? But instead of having it in the air, you're having it in the water. And it's just going to suck the water in like a straw, right? Once you get the water in, you hold it sideways and you blow just a little bit. And what that does is it clears the water out of this tube back into this chamber, and it kills the siphon. And it puts all the pressure, it takes all the pressure out from outside of this thing. Right? That's all it is. So watch. Look how easy. Watch. And you can put as much water as you want in these things now, too. It doesn't have to be that little tiny amount. You can put a big amount. Watch. Turn it sideways, right? Now, once you turn it sideways, blow. Just a little. Boom. Now, if you don't do that last step, that little blow, there's going to be water in this tube. It'll start draining out, and then the water that's in here will follow it with the siphon that's created and the vacuum inside. So you've learned about two different kinds of forces, siphons and vacuums, which occur naturally inside an enclosed piece of glass for no reason except the water pressure that is coming out of one end or the air pressure that is coming in the other end. And you can have as much water in your bubbler as you want now and get this kind of an action. And if you want to drain some water out, you can blow out just a little and then turn sideways. Or you can go like this. Right? And then stop the siphon by blowing back in. And you can lower the water level like that. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. So any of you that were wondering how to fill one of these, I shook it. I shook it and that started a siphon. Here. That's all. If you shake it, you don't want to shake these because then the water goes up and in and it starts that vacuum. So if you ever want to learn how to fill one of these, it's all about releasing that pressure on this side. Until you get your perfect level. And I think we're ready to dab. What do you guys say? You guys like this show? It's like a cooking show, but with cannabis. Right? All right, let's get rid of this. Go like this. Oh, the pad is back. Yes. Yes, yes. Put that there. Put this here. Get back into our situation. Here, situation. Okay, put that there. Oop, this upside down. Put that there. Okay, so now I want to get some dabs out here. Is it like a chandelier stem inside? I don't know what a chandelier stem is. I've never heard of that. It's definitely got some kind of glass screen on it. But I'd have to look at it with my glasses to see what the design is. I really don't know. Yum, yum. Yum, yum. You know what I love about dabbing like this is when you're using the Necter collector, you really can determine exactly how much of a dab you're going to get. And if you want to get, like this morning, I remember when I had to lay down like this after that dab this morning. Hey, Billy, I wanted a big fucking dab. And, you know, you can do that with something like that. Or you could take a very tiny dab and you have a lot of control over the amount, which is great. A cooking show with cannabis sounds like a million sub idea to me. Today we're making dark true black chocolate. Yeah, you know what? They've already got cooking shows about cannabis. I meant without not cooking. I mean, it's like a home show with cannabis. It's because they already have cooking shows with cannabis. But they have guests on it and stuff, and I'm just not interested in it because I don't like the terminology that people use when they're talking about pot and weed and marijuana. I can't listen to those people. I literally just can't listen to them. You know? And they act like they're doing such great things for the fucking industry, and they have no idea what they're talking about. People think that if they had a bong when they were a kid, it makes them an expert on cannabis. You know? Hey, Sam. Oh my God, it works. Yeah, it does work. It's amazing, right? You can have a lot of water, a little water, as long as you blow back in. Just remember, once you heat up this thing, you're done. Don't put your mouth back on this thing once it's hot. You know, don't do it. Famously said by me, don't do it. I should probably dab some of that. All right, here we go. Let's go in and see how this bubbler works with the water in it now that you all know how to do this. And Arn Ra's fake Egyptian ass. Billy, you're funny, man. Yeah. Yeah, I generally don't go back and watch the interviews. Because I don't want to be discouraged from doing another one, you know? All right. All right. Bow now. All right. No law regarding cannabis. Cannabisism, tisms for all. Cheers, everybody. Here it goes. Yeah, if you're dabbing someone out for the first time, you got to teach them. You got to tell them, don't touch this. It's gonna be hot. You got, because a lot of people make that mistake. I've even made that mistake before.